J-O-B-S, jobs. Jobs are hard to come by these days, and good paying jobs are even harder to come by. Well, there are 53 Penn Traffic supermarkets in New York State. They have 4,000 employees, counting the people who work in the stores, the people who work in the warehouses, and the distribution networks. Making sure that these hard-working men and women keep their jobs is my top priority. And I want to assure you, I'm going to do everything I can to see that Penn Traffic stays in business, is not liquidated, and is open and employing you for a long time on it. It's also something, there's also something else in addition to the jobs as we talk about Penn Traffic. And that is how important these supermarkets are to their communities. I just talked to a very nice lady, an elderly woman sitting on the bench there. As I walked in, she said to me, "Please keep this store open. It's close by, it's nearby, it's where I've always shopped." Many of the Penn Traffic stores and the quality stores are in rural communities with only a single grocery store. Have lots of people shop here, as you could see even on a cold Wednesday morning. And so it looked for a while like the liquidator would win. That would have been disaster for the 4,000 people who worked here and for the supermarkets themselves that are so vital to so many communities. Even though for most of November it looked like if no one else came in to bid, that by the middle of December that was going to be it. And even though a couple of bidders had come forward with initial interest by early December, this December deadline left too many stores not bid upon, and may not have left enough time to lock down the sale of the stores that did receive bids. So in times like this, you've got to go the extra mile to save any job, particularly when there are 4,000 jobs at risk. You should go an extra 4,000 miles. Thankfully, in this case, there was a way to help the process, and just required some common sense. Because if there was more time, if the creditors allowed more time to find better bids, it would be a win for everybody. A win for the creditors themselves because these bids would pay more, a win for the 4,000 people who work here, and a win for the communities that depend on these supermarkets. So I called up the head of the major creditor. It's GE Capital. We all know about General Electric. They used to employ a lot of people here in central New York. They don't anymore, but some of their successors, like Lockheed Martin, are doing a pretty good job. So that was good. And they're employing new people, and I try to get them contracts too. But GE Capital is a branch of GE that does financing. And I called the head of GE Capital, and I said, it's really imperative to extend the deadline to allow some of these bidders who would keep the stores open and keep the employees working at good wages to put together their bids. Don't go for a quick buck. And so here's where we are. Companies now have until January 21st to submit their bids, after which GE Capital and the bankruptcy judge will begin to decide a winning bidder, and the bidder will be announced on January 30th. At this point, the good news is Penn Traffic has received numerous good bids, and the odds look pretty good. We're not there yet, and I don't want anybody to go home and saying everything's accomplished, but I'd say the odds are pretty good that the vast majority of stores will stay open and not be liquidated, and that's good news for everyone. But we must keep the pressure on, and that's why we're here today. We need to ensure that we find and support a bidder that will keep the stores open and the people employed. We need to make sure to keep the pressure on Penn Traffic's lenders, that they do the right thing for the community. They're making money on this deal. They ought not be throwing people out of work, particularly during these difficult times. So we're going to ask them to go for the bid that keeps the stores open and keeps the people employed at a good wage. We need to make sure the bidders have the time they need to put together the financing, and they'll do their due diligence. And this is one of those cases, the more bidders we have, the better it is. let's say one bidder says, I'll take 90% of the stores, but I don't want the stores in the Rochester area. Then there might be another bidder who says, I'll take those. So we have to, the more time the better, and this will benefit everyone. So what I am pledged to do here is first, continue to talk to GE Capital to give us as much time as we need, and to continue to work with the bidders, whoever they may be, to make their bid the best possible in terms of wages, in terms of keeping stores open, in terms of keeping the employment here in central New York and the other places where Penn Traffic has stores. With that, again, I hope you all had a Merry Christmas. And I'm going to do my best to make sure that you have a happy New Year. Thank you. Frank, you want to say something? Frank DeRiso is from the United Food and Commercial Workers, where my good friend Frankie Meehan comes from, and he's going to say a few words. He represents the two unions that represent most of the workers here, are UFCW and Teamsters. Right? Are there any other unions represented? Those are the two. Okay, so Mr. DeRiso.
Thank you. Well, thanks, Senator. I clapped when the Senator said what he did with GE, because let me tell you something. That was probably the most important phone call for these employees and anybody involved with Penn Traffic. The Senator's call to GE was the most important phone call, because they definitely were on a fast track of liquidation. And the Senator said liquidation puts everybody out, basically. And the Senator making that call is what put us in a position right now to save these jobs. So no matter what happens, Senator, I got to tell you this, with the UFCW and the Teamsters, thank you very much.
I appreciate the thanks, but I don't want to rest until everything's done and assured.
I agree.
It isn't yet, but we're getting there.
I agree.
Do you feel that the union contract should be part of the purchase?
Yeah.
Yes, I would like it to be, definitely. I want to see these folks keep what they have. And I can't require that. You know, I've been doing this for years, trying to help jobs across upstate New York. Delphi, we were able to. We've had some good successes. Not all our successes. Okay, thank you everybody, and again, a good holiday to you.